Deuteronomy 33:28. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. So Israel will not be at war after they go back to the promised land. So what does this mean? That means that there are a fraudulent people. There are frauds in the land of Israel. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakahak Wadash. Double honors into the apostles, double honors into the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so now more so than ever, the 144,000. And the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth among the heathen nations that look like the heathen nations. This is not a black thing. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning, to you I say Shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. All right, definitely not a black thing. I saw a couple of Edomites just a couple days ago, and they were darker than any Africans, any black people I've ever seen. But yet they are not called black people. All right, think about it. So without any further ado, we're just gonna let the shameful spewing be upon their glory more, and let their tongue fall upon themselves with Scott Ritter, and this is Danny Hafong's channel. Danny also is from Asia, and he refers to Western Asia, what the world fraudulently calls, or the Western world fraudulently calls, the Middle East. He's constantly reporting on it.
So they did just approve the U.S. Submitted resolution, which has this three-step process leading to reconstruction, first prisoner exchange, then a long-standing ceasefire, then reconstruction of Gaza. It's unclear how Israel is going to react to this, although I think history as a judge would say perhaps not well. But at the same time, this is indicative of, I think, a trend that you speak of in terms of Israel's overall situation being very unfavorable. And the fact, and one of the things that we didn't mention yet is the reason why there was so much bloodshed is because Al-Qassam, the Palestinian resistance, caught Israel and the United States conducting a so-called rescue operation that really was armed to the teeth to be a military operation, and hence massive fighting, massive casualties. So could you speak on one, we have a Patreon member question who says, what happens if Israel violates this UN resolution? Because now it has been passed, Russia abstained, but the rest of the Security Council said, okay, let's go for this ceasefire. What happens if Israel decides not to go along with it? And how do you see this ceasefire, this recent ceasefire proposal within the larger framework of how this genocide, this war is going?
Let me just throw in, I hate to do this, Dan, but my brain works in weird ways. And I don't like to leave any useful analogy unreferenced. You said that the Israelis got caught going in, and that led to this broader battlefield. That does somewhat alter the proportionality debate. It's still disproportional use of force. But it's not as though the Israelis said that this is automatically going to happen when the raid takes place. What happened is, as you said, the initial assault force came in, was detected by Al-Qassam. The fact is, there's a lot of reason to believe that these hostages weren't held by Hamas at all. These were held by the PFLP. And so, somebody caught them. The major firefight took place, which required then the Israelis to launch strikes to suppress the fire, and the civilians got in the way. And I can just hear people say, my God, those Israelis are so cruel and inhumane. And are people familiar with Desert One, Operation Eagle Claw? It was an American aborted plan to rescue 50 some odd American hostages held by Iran at the U.S. embassy in Tehran. There was also a smaller element of Americans held at the foreign ministry annex. Delta Force, together with a team from Special Forces Detachment in Berlin, were going to launch an assault to free the hostages. But do people understand that the assault was going to be supported by an AC-130 gunship flying circles over Tehran? AC-130 gunship has 105 millimeter cannon, 40 millimeter cannons, 20 millimeter cannons. And if the mission had been compromised, because the idea is that they would seize the hostages, take them to a soccer stadium, and then helicopters would fly them out to an airfield that had been seized by U.S. Army Rangers, and C-141 transports would fly in, load the hostages on, then everybody would leave. The helicopters would fly out to the airfield, and everybody would leave. We'd blow up the helicopters, et cetera, et cetera. And if we got compromised, if the crowd in Tehran started to move, the job of the AC-130 was to lay down a wall of steel to prevent anybody getting near that stadium. And this meant that we could have killed, had we been called upon to do this, thousands, if not tens of thousands of Iranians. We would also have American aircraft flying in, ready to drop bombs and other things. We could have, had this operation gone forward, been in a situation where, in order to rescue 53 Americans, we would have killed tens of thousands of Iranians. That is literally the definition of disproportional response. But the American response would be, we had a right to get the hostages, and we also have a right to protect our force once we begin carrying out this operation. And so, we have to. I don't like to be fair to the Israelis, because I really don't think they deserve fairness in this in regard. But we just have to be responsible when we talk about this particular operation, and not be hypocritical. It would be hypocritical of me to sit there and throw darts at the Israelis without acknowledging the fact that, had America's hostage rescue operation in Iran gone forward, there was a real chance that we would have killed thousands, if not tens of thousands, of Iranians in the process. So that's that. Now let's get back to your question. Sorry, I had to get that off my conscience, because I don't like to be hypocritical. I like to be balanced. Where does this leave Israel? Israel is in a very difficult situation right now, and the Israelis know it. There's panic in Israel as we speak. In order for Israel, the nation, to exist, it needs to be literally a land of plenty, a land of comfort, a land of economic success. And to have that, Israel has to live in peace and harmony with its neighbors, and to be horizontally and vertically integrated with its neighbors from an economic standpoint.
See, and so they're not fulfilling prophecy, because when the Israelites go back to the land of Israel, all nations will bow down to them. All nations will be in subjection to them. All nations will be at peace with them, and all nations will seek to them for knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, to be taught the laws, because all religions of the earth and all these false gods will be done away with. And see, what you're witnessing is this is shameful spewing upon their glory. They're not matching up to the prophecies. You see, the prophecy that they fulfilled is this one. This is Ezekiel 36:5, one of my favorite scriptures, and it reads. Matter of fact, I'll read verse 2 first. 36:2. Thus saith the Lord power, because the enemy have said against you, aha, even the ancient high places are ours in possessions. So we know it. People who have the catchphrase is aha, and they have the ancient high places, the land of Israel. Verse 5. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power, surely in the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen, and against all Idumea. That's the Greek way of saying Edom, the Edomites, which have appointed my land into their possession, with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. So as the Israelites were casted out for a prey, the Bible prophesied that the nation of Edom would declare the land theirs and have rulership over it. And that didn't happen until 1948. Which is why everything's now falling apart, because the wicked has to be exposed. They've been exposed. I had a conversation with a guy from Bangladesh who just in general conversation talking about the Western Asia crisis, and he just said that, well, the problem is these people that we're talking about, and that the whole world knows that they're not the people that came from from Eastern Europe. They're not the people of the Bible. They're not the people from the ancient time that lived in that land, and the whole world knows that, and they know that the world knows that, but they still have a grip on the mainstream media.
This was on October 6th. Everybody was talking about normalization of relations. Israel was negotiating normalization of relations with Saudi Arabia. The Joe Biden had just gone to the G20 summit in India, where he bragged about what he called the India Middle East Economic Corridor, which would connect India with Dubai and Dubai with Saudi Arabia by rail through Jordan, into Israel through Haifa, into Greece, so that India and Europe are now connected by this corridor. And this is such a big deal that Benjamin Netanyahu himself briefed this during the General Assembly debate in September. Instead of putting up his cartoon figure of the Iranian bomb, he put up a map that showed Israel's role in this. And this is what Israel needed to survive as a nation state: peace.
Right, and they needed peace and safety, and there is none. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3, and it reads, "For when they shall say peace and safety, then shall sudden destruction come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child. They shall not escape." Because they've been, saying that every ceasefire, and all of a sudden, Russia's on the borders of Babylon and different parts of the West. Right? North Korea has already aligned themselves with Gog and Magog, who happens to be Edom occupying that land. So this is a house divided, Edom against Edom. This is what we've been waiting for.
And prosperity. Israel will never again enjoy peace, ever. They're not going to defeat Hamas. Gaza is a permanent wound. It's not going to be resolved in Israel's favor. Israel is talking about expanding the conflict into southern Lebanon against Hezbollah. Israel cannot win that conflict. I think one of the reasons why Israel hasn't yet launched that invasion is because they were reminded of that fact by Hezbollah, who successfully took out several Iron Dome sites in the vicinity, letting the Israelis know that they can take out all of the Iron Dome sites.
So basically, these people have shown their cards, and they can't win this game. So it's just inevitable, which is why they're going to bring the West into this by keep doing things, because they figure, well, if the West gets involved, if America gets involved, and now, they're talking about the draft and things here in America, and this is shameful spewing upon their glory. They're not who they have claimed to be, and this is actually shameful. This is Habakkuk 2:16, and it reads, "Thou art filled with shameful glory. Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be upon thy glory." So all this whitewashed history and it's and all these things that they've done, it's all backfiring on them. It's all it's all turning upright, because they've turned everything upside down, and everything is being turned upright, and they don't like it. That's why they come up with words like CRT. Well, you can't make factual history theory. All right. You can't blend those two words together. I've often said it. You can't make Rosewood, Elaine, Tennessee, the Black Belt in Chicago, Lake Lenoir and all the other lakes like it, Black Wall Street. You can't make that theory when it's factual history, critical race, historical facts. Like and subscribe. All right. You can't make facts history, and you can't undo the damage and the wickedness that was done.
and Israel will have no ability to protect itself from tens of thousands of rockets that'll land on Israel, fired from Hezbollah
And
on a
every
daily
other
basis.
direction.
And if you hit Israel with enough rockets over enough period of time, Israel doesn't exist. And the other thing is that Hezbollah isn't going to fight a fight that allows Israel to put 50,000 troops into southern Lebanon to push Hezbollah back to the Litani River. Hezbollah has gone underground, just like Hamas did in Gaza. As while Israel is digging and fighting Hezbollah there, Hezbollah will appear in the rear of Israel and take Galilee, take the northern. Hezbollah ensure that the next fight between Israel and Hezbollah isn't going to be fought amongst southern Lebanese villages, but amongst the villages and towns of northern Israel. And Hezbollah will win this fight. Israel now knows this. The Houthi have shown that Israel's sea lines of communications are vulnerable and have been successfully interdicted. And Israel has suffered billions of dollars of economic loss as a result. And then this continued attacks from Gaza, from Yemen, from Hezbollah, from Iraq now. The pro-Iranian Shia militias are now firing drones and cruise missiles that are striking Haifa, the city of Haifa. The bottom line is Israel will never know peace as long as it continues this current stance. The India-Middle East Economic Corridor is finished. It is not going to be revived. The concept of normalization of relations between Israel and its neighbors is ridiculous. Israel has lost lost the support it enjoyed amongst other nations around the world. In fact,
Absolutely, they've lost it because one of the most important things is that people know that the people in Israel are not the ancient people that they're claiming to be. And basically, Israel, the state of Israel right now is just another colony, another violent colonizers taking what's not theirs and claiming to be something that they're not. All right. But this is Jeremiah 49:7, and it reads, "Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, its wisdom no more in team, and its counsel perish from the prudent, because every move that they make is a failure. The wisdom is gone from them." And that's what's happening too, is that those left-hand side angels, Satan's minions, aren't working for them anymore. All right, they're going to their prognosticators and their witches and warlocks, and they're not getting answers anymore. They're kind of getting treated like Saul did. They're getting treated, as they used to say here in Chicago, slang from the early 2000s. When you got embarrassed, you got treated. All right, it says, verse 8, Jeremiah 49:8, "Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of the dam, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, and at that time I will visit him." Esau is about to get visited, man. All right, Esau is about to get visited, and there's absolutely nothing he can do about it. All right, "If grape grabbers come to thee, will they not leave some gleaming grapes? If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not." That's why people like Vocab Malone are giving a global cry to apologists to try to defend the false Christianity plantation, racist, white superiority plantation Christianity doctrines, colonized Christianity, trying to defend those lies against the Hebrew Israelites, against the truth, because they've been exposed to be the Esau Edom. They can't hide from it anymore. There's too much evidence coming from, even in the Jewish Talmud, in the Jewish Targums, it was written that the Romans were Edom. All right, and the Herodians were of the Romans, and that was your first sect of Jewish people. That line that the Herodians came out of, which were Edomites that were forced to follow the law, statutes, and commandments by John Hyrcanus, by Levites, by real Israelites, so-called Negroes in the ancient world during the time of the Maccabees. All right. Verse 10, "But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places. He shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. because what he is going to do is he's going to draw everybody into this third world war, trying to save himself, and he's going to draw the rest of the West into it. All right, that's exactly what's about to happen. I'm gonna jump up to verse 16. It says, Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Who lived in the caves, in the rocks? Yeah. That holdest the height of the hill. Thou shouldest make thy nest as high, though thou makest thy nest as high as an eagle, I will bring thee down from hence, saith Yahweh. Also Edom shall be a desolation, everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. It's over for them. Jump into verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh that he have taken against Edom, and his purposes that he have purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. All right. The earth is moved at the noise of their fall, at the cry of thereof, and was heard in the Red Sea. So the earth is going to be moved because all those missiles that are landing. All right. Because the nation of Israel, the state of Israel, all right, not the nation, but the state of Israel, all right, and the West, Babylon, will be annihilated primarily at the same time together. All right. The only difference is that Israel is going to be built up again, all right, by the free labor of all the remaining Edomites and the rest of the heathen. All right. Behold, he shall come up and fly as an eagle and spread his wings over Basra. And that day shall the heart of the mighty men of Edom be as the heart of women in her pain. So Esau is about to fall. Everything's about to go down. All right. It's all happening. All right. So with that, we're going to give all praises, all honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah HaKodash, Kwam Yasharallah, Abad Babal.